Hello and welcome to the Listening Post's unboxing channel on YouTube. Today I'm very proud to be opening the largest integrated amplifier McIntosh produces and considered to be the very best in the world, McIntosh's MA8000. This thing is huge. It is extremely heavy, and just to sort of imply what goes on, it has steel packaging bands. You may have subscribed to our channel and you may have seen some other boxes where we've got some yellow plastic bands around some amplifiers. This thing has steel holding it together. So, I'm not going to move this around too much. Okay, McIntosh MA8000. It has model and serial number information on all four corners. Not a lot on the top. Okay, very plain box as far as that goes. As I said, model and serial information on all the corners. And let's start this process carefully. Now, firstly, being steel bands, we're going to try and cut those off. Okay. Shipping these things is a challenge. Just imagine what is in their factory if they have machinery designed to deal with this. Okay, get rid of those. Once these bands are off, the top being square lid is difficult, but it's relatively straightforward to sort of work this lid off. There's big staples holding it closed. It's excellent weighted cardboard, but as it slides on, of course, it's going to slide off with not necessarily the greatest of ease. So, big heavy top. Get rid of that. Okay, now, this is where McIntosh really does understand how well the packaging needs to be in these products to ensure that by the time it's been shipped all the way to New Zealand, that it arrives to us in one piece. Firstly, look at all this foam. Look at how thick that is. It is beautiful. We've got foam on the top, a closed cell foam on each side, the rear and front, and at this point the amplifier itself is so heavy I'm going to need some assistance lifting it to the next stage. We're going to go that way, onto its head maybe, and I'll give you this. So, at this point it hasn't got any easier to move around. It's still extremely heavy, but now that we're down into it we start to understand just a little bit more of the scale of this product. At this point there's really nothing on the box. It's other than a few staples holding it closed. We don't have any additional model or serial number information. Lifting this top box is now very easy. We start having a look at the product for the first time. So obviously on the very top is McIntosh's owner's manual. Below that is a bit of closed cell foam, about an inch, a couple of centimetres thick. Drilling down into the box, we've got at the back, firstly McIntosh's tool key. This is for tightening the rear binding posts. McIntosh's remote control. It's got a bubble wrap bag, a part number on it. It's remote control there. It's one of their newer ones. A New Zealand IEC power cord. Looks pretty good as far as the quality, nice and long. And a set of AAA batteries, obviously for the remote control. The amplifier, I mean, again, you'll see the box is unfolded, and I think what we'll do is roll this again. So if you can come and give me a hand, what we're going to do is roll this forward I'm going to get to that. And then carefully slide it back towards me. Now the physical size of this amplifier means that it's actually shipped in weight with a chipboard base. It's actually bolted, 4 big bolts. Now to get those off requires normally a spanner. We're going to cheat and do it quickly. One of these should be about the same size. There we go. So there's a good sized bolt in 4 corners. Okay, so this chipboard comes away. McIntosh has gone to the extent of actually using this sort of framing here with a front to protect the front glass of the product. These bolts go specifically, if I get rid of that, these bolts go specifically into 4 predetermined points. 1, 2, 3, 4, specifically for that shipping board. Taking the next step as far as taking the bag off is actually relatively straightforward. As I nick that bag and then carefully, now I hope you're seeing how heavy this product is, carefully roll it towards me so that I can get this bag off. Moving anything of this weight around is very, very difficult. So as I slide the bag off, you'll see a craftsmanship that is revealed with any of these McIntosh pieces. You carefully roll this around so that we can see it for the first time at the front. Okay, so removing this desiccant bag is relatively straightforward. It's slip it through, get rid of that. I'm going to tilt this up so we can have a good look. Now the weight is towards the front of the amplifier, which is why McIntosh has added these big handles. So this integrated the MA8000, of course, 300 watt integrated amplifier, EQ on the front. It's superb, it's stunning. In fact, I believe it's been reviewed and classed as the world's best integrated amplifier, certainly the biggest, and it's a delight as far as, from our perspective, its quality. Okay, looking at the front. Firstly, you'll see McIntosh's VU meters. This is quintessential as far as McIntosh's design. They're illuminated, and fibre optics is then used throughout to ensure that illumination throughout the screen is very consistent. Each VU meter represents the left and right channels. You've got the input selector, and beside it all of the equalization. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 channel equalization. There's a volume knob, and the volume knob is also used as a rotary encoder for changing things associated with the setup and input, and even renaming things if required. Beneath the input selector is the headphone output, and beside the headphone output is the ability to turn on and off twin outputs. The first output relates to the internal amplification, the second output the ability to use this as a preamp. The front display is dot matrix, very similar colour to the rest of the amplifier's display, with 2 lines of information. The button beside the front display is the equalizer bypass or tone defeat, mute button, and then standby on and off. It's worth noting, pushing and holding the standby button will reset the amplifier and wipe presets associated with anything you might have changed as far as inputs and outputs. Okay, lowering this carefully to the ground and letting you see how deep this product by rolling it forward, you'll see a number of things. Firstly, McIntosh's now infamous autoformer output transformers. Very large, of course, to work with the fact that this has 300 watts of amplification on board. An input transformer sits in the centre, and of course the outputs either side. Along the top is basic circuit topography. This amplifier has a digital to analog converter on board and a phono stage, so it shows the basic topography as far as where things come and go from a input and output perspective. Lowering this down, spinning it around, again you'll see its depth and its layout and the very, very large heat sinks associated with its amplification stages. Spinning it around and looking at the back, this is where we see how well appointed the product is and how they've managed to sneak a significant number of features into a relatively small chassis. Okay, firstly, the multiple tap outputs for the amplification stages. Using an autoformer output transformer means that it's more directly coupled to the speaker, and so they have an 8, 4 and 2 ohm tap, as well as of course the common. These are a 5-way binding posts with the tool that I showed you earlier allows you to tighten that up. Looking across it, we have the control, both data and IR, associated with a myriad of additional McIntosh pieces that can be added. There's a number of inputs and outputs, both 3.5mm mono and 3.5mm stereo, depending on the control that you require. Beneath that control are the two balanced inputs. Both are simply labelled balance 1 and 2 with left and right, as these can be assigned using the setup to any of the inputs that you might want to use. There's a set of balanced outputs, and that is switched via the output 2 switch on the front. Above the balanced outputs are the McIntosh digital ins. There's 2 coaxial and 2 optical inputs, and again these can be assigned to any input via the front control. There's an asynchronous USB DAC, and it's an A to B, a printer cable. And again, the output for the other channel. Along the bottom is a sort of a separate chassis, I guess, from a design and circuit topography perspective. Obviously the power on this side and fuse, but this is where we've got a record output and the ability to assign that to be a theatre bypass. You've got the pre-in and pre-out, for which can be removed as bridging clips, and then a number of single-ended inputs marked associated with the inputs you may require. The CD1, CD2, auxiliary, DVD, all of those things there. Quite importantly, and what I guess sets McIntosh apart from many other brands, is the fact that it has 2 dedicated phonos inputs, one for moving magnet and one specifically for moving coil, and dual grounds for the purposes of earthing those products. So it's beautiful to see something so well appointed, and for each step of the way everything done so well. Okay, so again, carefully putting that down and spinning it around so we can see this beautiful McIntosh MA8000 integrated amplifier unboxed here at the Listening Post in Christchurch, New Zealand. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more, subscribe to our channel.